years. I have been there since NAV, working since NAV 2015 onwards, and I have seen the full transition from NAV or some older versions of NAV known as Navision, and I have done a couple of upgrading projects from NAV to Business Central. Okay, so yeah, this is my profile. You can also read about my blogs and of course find me on LinkedIn. I have been posting many blogs and webinars on LinkedIn regularly. All right, so today's agenda is basically, when it comes to Business Central, people often think that, hey, this is an ERP and probably it cannot handle complex tasks of CRM, and I am there to defend that hey, Business Central, although being an ERP, it is also having a good CRM system inside. And if you are a user or if your company is already using Business Central, and if you want to have any CRM solution, I would definitely recommend you check the CRM which is present in Business Central, and uh, relatively then take your decisions. Okay, so to start up, I will be providing you an overview of the CRM system that is there, all the list of entities and how they are mapped together. Then let's set up with the relationship management module. Then we'll move on to managing contacts, managing segments, interactions, and sales opportunities, and the whole sales cycle that is present within the CRM. All right. So moving on to overview, the key entities that are required for any CRM system is sales person, purchaser. Now I'm talking in terms of Business Central. So be cognizant of that. Salesperson or salespeople, purchaser, it's like a person who is going to sell any object or any commodity or any service to a customer. Contacts, just like these are the contacts that we have. They are not generally the customers or the vendors. They can be anyone whom we discussed with, whom we had a meeting with, whom we met on our commute to work. And yeah, so that's basically contacts. For every CRM system, there has to be a task associated with any kind of customer related activities. For example, let's say if I get a call from a customer or I get an email from a customer knowing that, hey, they want to implement Business Central, so I need to figure out a couple of tasks that I need to do prior to actually turning that contact or that lead into my customer. So these are the list of tasks which we handle here. Teams is a collaboration of salesperson in a group, and it is not just a one defined group. It can be many defined groups, and there inside each team you can add multiple salespeople. So the whole point of team is, let's say I have a task which is big enough for me and I won't be able to complete it on time. So instead I can just delegate that task to the team, so that the team, any member who is free inside the team, can do that corresponding task. So just like we have tasks, we also have activities. So activities is a group of tasks which we perform. So for example, let's say I want to give a proposal out. So prior to giving a proposal out, I need to understand the customer's requirements. I need to sort those requirements. I need to see what is feasible, what is not feasible, and then come up with a proposal with the number of estimated hours, right? So this whole activity which we look at is also known as the pre-sales activity, and this is what we follow. So it's also present in Business Central, just for your information. Business relations is, let's say I'm a contact. I know that my contact has now converted into a customer or a vendor or bank or an employee. So that's what business relation is. Campaign is something like this. Hey, I want to make new sales, and the way I get this news into the market is by arranging campaigns. So for example, at many big seminars such as Inspire and many other seminars that are there on physically on the location, even the ones which we had uh, for 365 Saturdays. There are a couple of campaigns which are going on, which will talk about the company, what they do, maybe the product they sell, the ISV solution that they have developed. So that's the campaign whereby they offer their solutions, they explain it to people. Maybe they from that they generate their leads so that they can process the leads and understand if the product can be sold to the customer or not. Opportunities is just like a just like leads. We have opportunities whereby we know that, hey, this might be a potential customer for us, and we are going to sell a couple of things to him. Now, that opportunity has a couple of activities assigned to it. There's a whole sales cycle, or also known as the sales process, from getting a lead, converting into opportunity. Opportunity we will do some activities on it. Then we'll be sending a sales quote, and after approving of the sales quote, we'll convert it into a customer. Correct. So that's what sales cycle here is. And interactions is basically any communication that I have with my customer, be it an on-site conversation, or be it a lunch meeting or a golf event or whatever. Those interactions can be also recognized in Business Central. So the whole suite is present in Business Central. I want to show you more. Let's move ahead. All right. So as you can see, this is the mapping between all the entities that we discussed previously. And what this means is from which page or which entity I can do a couple of tasks. So for example, in this case, I'm looking at salespeople purchaser, it being at the center. So from a salesperson side, I can create tasks. That task can create interactions, and hence it will create interaction logs. Similarly, for example, a task can be assigned to teams. Take a look at contacts. So for example, a contact has multiple profiles. Just like, for example, I need to know if a contact is listed on any stock exchange, like just for my campaigning activity, if I have to run a report, or if I have to gather the number of contacts which will be present, or whom to target to, I can look at the profiles. Then from contacts, we can create campaigns, we can create opportunities, and from opportunities, we can go to sales cycle, create activities, and again move to tasks. Okay, so this is the whole entity framework. Please, if you want, you can take a screenshot of it. This is a very useful framework, which I have created it through my study, and I'm sharing it with you guys. All right. So moving ahead, we will be setting up relationship management. So the whole CRM in Business Central is known as the relationship management module. The it's not linked. It's not exclusively set it as a CRM, but it does all the functionalities, at least to some level, functionalities of CRM. So moving on, we'll be looking at marketing setup and salespeople purchasers. Okay. So the first setup that we need to do in Business Central is marketing setup. So what it means is uh, your inheritance means from where am I going to get all the details, like salesperson, territory, country, language, address details, communication details. So when I enable this, it means that I can pick up these details from contacts or my salespeople or the person code. Okay, so here we have a couple of more fields like salesperson code. Like for example, if I'm looking at, if there are 10 salesperson, but I don't know whom to assign to, or maybe the first person who's going to create an interaction, maybe we want it to go towards a team head, and that team head is going to divide the task between other salespersons. We can do it through the salesperson code. The territory code, country, region, language, these are the territory, country, region, and language. These are basically the addresses related uh, codes that we we have to set up. Generally, this is because we also need to know whenever I'm creating a campaign or whenever I'm creating any kind of an event, I need to know where is the customer belonging to, where am I belonging to. So I have to be cognizant of all those things. Um, then correspondence type, this is the default correspondence type, which means there are multiple correspondence type. In this case, email, meeting, calls, and there's a blank one as well for other types of events. The default one we are using is going to be email. uh, for company, the salutation code is company. So if you do not know, Business Central, we have contacts categorized into company contacts and person contacts. So person contacts is the physical person whom you are going to contact, versus a company contact is a contact which will be more generalized. So for example, if I'm talking about a company email address like info@xyz.com, so that's a company contact, versus I would say Olister@xyz.com. That's a person contact. Okay, so we also have salutations for it. Uh, Default sales cycle code. So let's say I'm running through a sales cycle. I already know this customer. Uh, then in that case, it does not make sense that I should go with a previous sales cycle. So whenever I'm creating any kind of a new opportunity, I will go with the new sales cycle code. Uh, then we have here as default, as default task date calculation. So I have kept it blank because let's say if I'm creating a task, I don't want to move it um, ahead or behind the schedule. So uh, moving ahead, this is the next screenshot whereby I'm looking at interaction. So for example, whenever I create a contact, I have the four possible business relations, which is customers, vendors, bank accounts, and employees. So I'm using the code to map the business relation. Please know that if these business relation codes are not there, in that case, you will not be able to create your customer, vendor, bank accounts, and employees through the contact page. And even if you create a customer in Business Central, it will not create a contact in the management, the relationship management module. Okay, so you need to take a look at this. These are the four important fields. Please highlight it whenever you are going to do this. Uh, then we have numbering. So this is the default number series that we are going to use. Duplicates is basically maintaining duplicate search. So for example, if I'm creating a contact, we do not have any kind of restrictions, but we want to avoid as many duplicates as possible, because the list can go up very high numbers. So we can enable this maintain duplicate and auto search for duplicates, so that we reduce our contacts. So the whole part of this is there in the web source action in contacts. Then we have email logging. So for example, let's say I'm managing any interactions through Business Central. I also want to automatically read through my email, understand the email, and say, hey, this is the interaction coming from XYZ person, and I need you to map up with Business Central. So that's what it can do. And the way you do is enable this email logging, or you can simply go to the assisted setup, and there you can put in few details of email logging there. Okay, so moving on. All right, so this is the verification process for email login, where it will ask you for a couple of permissions. Once you give those, it will enable the email login for you. Moving on, so the important part or the starting point for any user of CRM is people purchaser. The reason being, for example, if I am from the sales team, I want to see what my interactions are, what my daily work is. Okay, so salespeople purchaser has got it figured out that hey, I want to look at interactions, here it is. I want to look at segments, here it is. I want to look at contacts. I want to look at tasks, activities, teams, so on and so forth. So this is a main screen for people or the sales persons whoever are going to use Business Central. I have just highlighted it to just give an idea that there's a page like this. Moving on, we'll be managing our contacts. So this is my contacts card page. So whenever I create a contact, I can fill in a couple of details like name, type. So as I mentioned, the type is company and person. So in this case, this is my company type, and I have a company number as well to link it. If you see business relation here, it is tagged as multiple, which means I can have customers, vendors, employees in all in the same contact, but they are linked to three different actual entities ahead. Moving on, we have interactions. So any interactions that we do with the customer or a salesperson does with respect to this contact is seen over here. Um, then we have basic address and communication details. So moving ahead, we have something called as profile questionnaires. So the whole point of profile questionnaires is to identify contacts easily. So for example, I'm creating a campaign for customers who are very big in size. So for example, I'm just creating campaigns for uh, maybe like fortune fortune 10, fortune 15 companies who are listed in stock market, and I want to just create that campaign for those guys. So these profile questionnaires are basically the ones which are going to help us filter down from thousands of contacts into maybe like say 20 or 30 contacts to whom I should target my campaign to. Okay. So moving on, so we have business relations. So take a look at this contact where I have for the contact FC engineering, I have two business relations, which is customer and vendor. So when you click on business relation on the fact box page, you will get this screen, and from here, if you can just go to that corresponding customers or vendors page. So you don't have to go and search through many searches and filtering. Okay, then we have job responsibility. So this is with regards to a person type. So if you see, the contact name has changed, but that contact is linked to that same company, which is FC engineering. So in this case, I can identify the job that is being performed by a person. I'll give you an example of this. For example, let's say I am going to say Microsoft, for instance, and I'm looking or I'm having a contact there. Now, whom do I contact? And there are many people in Microsoft here. So what I can do is I can put the key contacts here, and I can identify, or I can put their job responsibilities. So by job responsibilities, I can identify precisely which contact I should contact, and that too I can drill down. So for example, if I'm going into contact page for Microsoft, there if I go to job responsibilities, I can go and see that, hey, maybe Olister is present for marketing, maybe Paul is present for let's say sales, and so on and so forth. So we can go and identify that person correctly. Then we have industry groups. So for example, a contact or a customer or a vendor, we can identify them into a particular industry group. So the reason why we use it is, again, when we are marketing, the whole point of the relationship management is basically, to create interactions and to gather as much as traction as possible. So here we have multiple levels of grouping, like industry groups, segments, job responsibilities, so that we can get the right amount of content, the right amount of contacts, and just focus on those kind of interactions. Then we have mailing groups. So here in this case, let's say I just send Christmas gifts to this contact, so I can just tag that along with this contact. Okay, then we have profiles. So just as I said, the profile questionnaire which we saw in the contact card, we can add our list of questions and answers, and the respective ones can be ticked on, so that we can understand which contacts to look into. Okay, so these are a couple of actions which we can see. So for example, uh, in the contacts card, we'll go into the actions where we can see our launch web source, so which is like a unique search type, search like feature, which will identify on the basis of your email and homepage, and it will help you avoid duplicate checks. Print cover sheet is just like a report which you can print out and send it to multiple contacts and say that, hi, we are doing this, and we are sending you this details. uh, in create as, we can create the contact into customer, vendor, bank, and employee. So you remember in marketing setup we were talking about the four important fields that we are looking at. These are the four important things that we are going to create from. Okay, then we can also link our existing contacts. So for example, for some reason our marketing setup was off, we need to link um, this contact with the customer. We can just do link existing, we can create templates, we can merge multiple contacts, and so on and so forth. Similarly, if you can see, the whole point of uh, the relationship management system is to make things easier for interaction. So if you see there are interactions, you can create opportunities, you can create sales code. So the more we have sales, the better it is for our company. So hence we have given this option, which makes it very easier for CRM to be working fine in Business Central. Then we have a more detailed view. So for example, when I was showing you business relation, industry groups, web sources, you can even take a look at these actions which are present. These are more like, into the detailed ones. You can also check that out through the fact box, which will give you most of the information as it is. Then we have related information like mailing group, segments, related contacts, so on and so forth. Tasks like, let's say I have to create phone calls, maybe give a call to some kind of a some person in a given contact. I can create it as tasks. Opportunities, as in where I mark that, hey, this is a potential opportunity. If I move through the whole sales cycle and follow up with them, maybe this contact can be my customer. So that's opportunity. Postpone interactions, as in, let's say I want to create a call, but for some reason there's maybe a different sales activity going on, so I can maybe postpone that. So all these activities we can see on the contact page, uh, right from creating sales quote as well. So managing segments is nothing but grouping of multiple contacts into manageable groups. So in this case, let's say I want to create a campaign, and I want only top Fortune 10 companies to be involved. So I can create a segment for that. I can create patterns for segments, and on the basis of that, I can identify which contacts to move with. So here we'll be talking about segment creation, adding contacts, logging segments, and uh, log segments and their corresponding actions. Okay, so this is a segment card page whereby I'll be assigning a pre-sales person to that segment card. It's not a mandatory requirement, but this is the segment with salesperson code. I can also see if I have to create an interaction or maybe a campaign out of it. That can be filled in through the interaction in the campaign tab that you can see below. Okay, in between, if you see the line items, these are basically the contacts which we are going to group into this corresponding segment. And there's a very efficient way of adding contacts to this. So if you see, I click on add contacts, I'll get various types of filters. So for example, in contact, I have contact profile answers by contact mailing groups, interactions, job responsibilities, contact industry. There's one more, which is by item ledger entries. Sorry, by value entries, which means that, let's say if I have sold anything to that particular contact, I can also go and find, and I can maybe catch hold of that contact for my further marketing activities. Then let's say I have created this segment. Now I want to log it or I want to store it. So I can just click on log, and I'll be getting this form where I will, as a part of my interaction, I'll be saying that send attachments. I can click on it. If I click on create a follow-up segment, so what it will do is it will, on the basis of this segment as a primary segment, it will create a child segment for it, and we can follow up on that corresponding segment as well. So this is a log segment where we can see in a single line, where we can see what segment it is, number of interactions, and number of campaigns that have happened. I can play around with this log segments. Let's say I want to cancel it. I want to resend my interaction. I can do it here. I can delete this segment. Another cool feature which I feel is, let's say I have created a segment and I have sent anything and somebody calls and say, hey, can you just send me this back? Going through the whole list will be very difficult. So we can go here and click on resend attachments and we can send it over. Similarly, we can also record our interaction and campaign through the related tab in the log segment. And these are our interactions that we have done so far with this company. So managing interaction. So anything that we interact with has to be easy enough, has to be customizable, or rather it has to be configurable in such a manner that it is easier for all of us. So that's the reason we have interaction template set up. We create interaction template as well, interaction and tasks and activities for those corresponding interactions. Okay, so in interaction template setup, you if you see, you will be having, like, multiple levels of interaction. So in this case, we have emails, email drafts, cover sheets, outgoing calls, meeting invitations, etc. And for any sales or purchase related activities that we are doing with the with the contact, we can also map this interaction templates there. So correspondingly, we know which document is being sent, and we can figure it out what interaction needs to be done where. So these are the list of interactions which are set up on the interaction template setup, where we can identify what sort of an interaction group we have. If we are going to email, we are going to send a hard copy. If the flow is like from our end to the customer's end, or if it's from the customer's end to our end. So for example, take a look at incoming phone calls. It's inbound, which means it's coming towards us, versus, let's say, email, it's going out from us, so it's outbound. Correct. And then we have initiated by and campaign if you want, so that we can identify precisely with which data. Hey, maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. I can go and find out which interaction was used with what customer. Okay, so number of interactions that I can see. I can also see number of interactions by this interaction templates. If I drill down, I'll get the list of interaction log entries and the costs associated with this. um, Moving on, so this is basically an interaction page. So for example, I'm creating an on-site interaction, and if you see, the fields below are being disabled, which means based upon our interaction template, the corresponding interaction is changed over here. Okay, so once we record it, we can also put comments into this interaction logs, and we can write the results whatever we have. And so this is another. Okay, yeah, this is another interaction that we are following up. Yeah, this one, where we are having a golf event, and in the golf event, we have decided that we will have a golf event and we'll have a lunch together and discuss their requirements and come back. So we can just manage that interaction over here. If you see, the correspondence type is blank, which means we have a couple of defined set of interactions, but if it does not fit, we can keep it blank. The day, the time, the information flow, who initiated it, and how the interaction went. Was successful is just a trigger to identify if the interaction was good enough and we might get any positive response. The costs and the time spent can also be recorded here. Okay, so this is the basic interaction. Then after interaction, we also send something called as a confirmation. So in this case, whatever interaction we had, we can just send it as a confirmation. So in this case, this is the email that is being sent to the contact of the customer. Okay, moving on, we have interaction log entries. So whenever I'm having any interactions, I can just go and this is like a ledger entries, but it's more of like an interaction log, where we can see, we can filter by various costs, customers, salespersons, interaction templates, and so on and so forth. So the most of the reporting that is being created is on the basis of interaction log entries. Then we have postponed interaction. So for example, I cannot do the interaction for some reason, but I want to do it later. I can just simply stop that interaction here and I can see it. Now, when I go to the resume interaction, just like you had that interaction page, um, you will be able to fill details on that and close this, postpone and move it to complete. Okay. So moving on, we have, after we have an interaction, we also have follow-up tasks. So these are my list of the list of tasks with regards to that opportunity. So where I'll be qualifying that opportunity or not. Maybe I'll have a confirmation meeting, and let's say from the golf event, I identified a key persons. So these are my tasks for that corresponding interactions as well, and I can plan it out. I can assign it to a corresponding team, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is a task card where you can see all the list of details that we are filling up. So in this case, this task is assigned, uh, has a normal priority, is not started yet, and it's assigned to me as a salesperson. And whatever details we have, we can just fill it up here. And once we say it's completed by, so once I move this status to complete, it will ask me for whoever completed this task, or can this be assigned to any team member. We can identify that, and we can store the task once it's completed. Okay, so out of every task, we also can create interactions. So for example, my task was to give a phone call or identify the client requirements. I can also create an interaction for it, and uh, I can map it up with this corresponding task. And it's already present in this task card. So you have to go through the list of actions. Now, consider that I have a task and I have to create a follow-up activity. So let's say if I have given a proposal out to the customer and I want to, once the proposal is completed, or if I get any positive response from the customer, I want to plan for the project. I want to plan for the go live. I want to plan for the requirement gathering phase, so on and so forth. So I can create a group of tasks into an activity, and I can assign an activity which is a follow-up on this corresponding task. So in this case, I'm creating a follow-up task, which is proposal. And if you see, the list of tasks has increased. Okay, so once I assign that previous task, I can complete that, and I can create activities. From these activities, I can correspondingly create tasks. Okay, so that's one level. The second thing is, for any given tasks, I can assign corresponding people or corresponding contact list, whoever is going to come for that event or so that I can send them an invitation. So this is an attendee scheduling for a given task, which we can identify. Okay, and then we can record a couple of more things, like for example, salesperson, we have interaction template that we are going to use, the cost and the time that is going to be spent. So we can track it up through the accounting, through the attendee scheduling. Okay, so moving on to activities. So let's say I'm looking looking at multiple tasks. I can group them so that whenever I um, invoke that activity, automatically all the tasks are being created. So if you take a look at it, company presentation tasks, I can see that the first task is going to be inviting members, checking the dates, availabilities, calling them, and booking, and then presenting to the customer. And as to how it should be done, rather I would say any task has a timeline attached to it. So similarly, we also have a date formula for each of this case. So whenever I'm creating an activity, automatically the tasks with the corresponding follow-up dates and due dates are being updated in the system. Managing sales opportunities. So this is the biggest thing, or I would say it's the most important part of any CRM system, which is managing campaigns, going through the completing the sales cycle, and then converting that opportunity into a customer. Okay, so let's take a look at campaigns, the whole sales cycle, the opportunity. Okay, so this is a common campaign which I've created. So let's say my company is an engineering company, and I'm going to a maker fair campaign where I'll be, having my own place to showcase my products. So I can create it here. I can assign corresponding salesperson to it. Maybe I can give the start date, end date. The best part of this is we can assign uh, assign campaigns by segments. So I can create multiple level of segments to invite multiple contacts from here. Now, if you see the segment creation had that adding contact feature, which was a very big, very big screen with a lot of filters to get the right amount of content and the right amount of contacts that I need to actually contact or identify in this campaign. I can put it up here. Then we have, let's say, not all campaigns are basically showing off their product. Some of them are also selling their product at very cheap price. So if I order, let's say, if the customer orders 10 quantity of any item, I'll, instead of $2, I'll be selling them at $1. So I can put it up here and I can activate my campaign. And once that campaign is once that campaign is done, we can, we also have a campaign entries whereby we log in all the entries that were made through that campaign, and we can, go and check what happened, who interacted, who is interested probably, and we can identify the list of opportunities from that campaign, and we close the campaign after that. Okay, so moving on, once we have a campaign, we have the list of candidates. Now we have sales cycle. So sales cycle is basically the process from looking at having an initial interaction with the customer, taking a look at their requirements, identifying, following up with them, and maybe the whole point of sales cycle is to convert any lead into a customer straight away. So we will be seeing sales cycle over here. There are two sales cycles. You can create as many as you want, but I'm using the standard which are given, existing and new. So let's take a look. So this is a new customer sales cycle where I have to initialize. I have to check for the qualifications of that customer. I have to present them. I can send them a proposal and maybe sign a contract. So if you see, completed here has a set of percentage. So what means that how many percent of the sales cycle we have completed here, and the chances of success means how when we create when we complete a particular stage, what are the chances of the customer being getting converted as into our the contact being converted into our customer. Okay, now with these stages we also have activities assigned to it. So for every stage we have activity. For every activity there are multiple tasks assigned to it, and we need to complete those tasks to ensure that our sales cycle is going in a smoother way. Okay, your quote required means that for if I'm going anything above sales cycle 3, 4, 5, I'll have to create a sales quote for that customer. It's a mandatory requirement. If I don't want, I can simply untick it. Allow skip means I can skip this step and move ahead without doing any kind of activities or interactions on it. Okay, and if I want to give any kind of dates, like due dates, I can put it up in the date formula. Whenever my sales cycle will be created, the dates will be updated automatically. Okay, now along with the sales cycle, we also need to know the closing of the sales cycle. What happened, why we lost or why we won that a particular prospect. And the way we do is with the help of close opportunity cycle, where we have a standard set of opportunities codes for closing, and we can see the list of opportunities which are open or which were closed because of these opportunity codes. We can generate a result out of it, and maybe using this analytics we can discuss it with the management as to, hey, maybe I need to adjust my price, or maybe I need to have some convincing person, or maybe I need to be more empathetic with the customer, so on and so forth. Okay, so moving on. So this is an opportunity. So whenever I understand that this is my potential contact, now I've identified the contacts whom I'm going to contact through my campaigns. I'll say that, hey, I'm now going to create an opportunity for this client, this potential client, and this is how you do it. You mention all the details regards to the contact, the salesperson, if there is any. The sales cycle code determines what all tasks you're going to perform in that corresponding sales cycle for that opportunity, and how it progresses. So I'll be showing the whole sales cycle here. So this is my first where I've activated the first stage, and you can see that I have a task assigned at the bottom. Now, whatever action was taken, I can record it here, the date, the close date, the value that it provided, the calculated current value, completed, the chances of success, and profitability. Okay, so on the basis of that, we can identify these details. Now moving on. So I'm now trying to update. Now let's say my task one or my cycle one task is done. Now I want to move to the next. So I'll be clicking on update, where I can move between the two different sales cycles. uh, which next sales cycle is going to come, the price related to it, the dates, the closing dates, and if I want to close any open tasks for previous sales cycle that was there. So in this case, I'll be creating a new sales cycle. So if you see by sales cycle stage, stage number 2 is qualification, where I'll get the estimated values, the chances of completion, and the chances of success for this corresponding sales cycle. And moving further now, if I can see the list of tasks which are created for that corresponding sales cycle, I can go from here, the opportunity, into the task list. I can identify for every task. Maybe I might need an interaction, maybe not, maybe I have to do it for specific segment. So all these details we can check into the task list of that given opportunity. Okay, then finally I create an interaction for that given tasks, whereby I'm going to maybe send an email or send an invite. So I can just create this interaction, and that will basically be logged in as my interaction log entries. Okay, so now if you see, when I'm trying to update, it says that I cannot go further without a sales quote, which means if you remember, on the sales cycle we have given the quote needed. We have made it mandatory for stage 3. So once I create a sales quote over here, I will be now allowed to create the next stage, which is presentation. And moving further, I have created stage 4, 5, and at this stage I will be marking if my opportunity is being won or it's being lost for some reason, and I can mark with the close opportunity code, the closing date, the final sales, and I will close this opportunity. Okay, so the status becomes 1. I can now see. So now on the basis of salesperson or contacts or sales cycle, I can identify or I can maybe drill down and create analytical report to check maybe who is my best salesperson, who is creating maximum opportunities, which type of contacts are being answering, being positive about the product, and the further strategies that can be identified from there. Okay, so that's all for today's session on CRM in Business Central. I hope you enjoyed or maybe understood it. I understand it's complex, but yeah, that was basically all. The whole CRM module is in Business Central.
Wow, on time, Olister. That's a crash course, right? That was a crash
Yeah.
course right there.
Yes, of course.
So let's have a look at the questions. So there's one question. Okay, here we are. Any questions? Okay. So Ananth Paul asks, dynamic CRM versus relationship management. What is the difference when to use CRM and when to use relationship management?
So the ideal start point is like I'm looking at from a Business Central perspective. Let's say my company is already using Business Central, and I want to do some not so advanced, but some basic CRM activities. I can definitely take a look at the relationship management module in Business Central, versus if I want to do many more activities, like for example, the things that are missing in Business Central is lead creation, the whole sales cycle that we do, the pipeline that we have. So it's more easier in the CRM, that is D365 sales. Rather, it's a bit complicated and difficult in Business Central. But they have created integrations between Business Central uh, and D365 for sales, which means we can use both. But I think the first look, if you're using Business Central, should be at the relationship management, evaluate it, and if it fits well as per your requirements, I think then it's fine. Otherwise, you can move on to uh, D365 sales.
Okay, so Dinesh is saying the interaction template has the attachment option. What is the main purpose of that? Is that to send the attachment to contacts in an email?
Yes.
There you go.
So the whole point of putting it on interaction template is, let's say I'm sending an introductory email, okay, to any contact. So in that case, let's say I use that interaction template, like let's say introductory email, and automatically I don't have to gather all the list of introduction attachments I want. I can simply put it in the interaction template and use that template for just introducing yourself.
And then Dinesh continues to ask, once the log segment is done, the segment contacts are moved to logged segments and it's not under the campaign segment list. When is the right time to do the log segments because the campaign has the status to update?
Yes. So giving more details about segments, actually segments is more about identifying the key contacts that we need. So using a segment, you can actually make multiple segments, which means you can either keep the log segments open, or you can just make a create a copy of the segment if you want to need on that specific campaign. So ideally, the rule of thumb here is that segments, if I'm doing any kind of a small level interaction with that specific contacts, I would create the segment. Maybe I will, after the interaction is done, I will log that segment. For campaigns, that's not the case. For campaigns, I will be creating the segment until and unless that campaign is over. I will not be closing the segments. And the key part here is identifying which contact is answering which what kind of questions, and how do we identify the contacts so that we can move them to the opportunity cycle.
So Kumar is asking what kind of reporting is available, such as Power BI reporting?
There, for a sales cycle, for the relationship management, we have dashboards. Maybe I can just share my screen and show you a couple of these. One moment. So there are dashboards and there are standard reports which are available from Business Central. But if you want to create any more sort of reporting, you can simply go on to go on and connect your Business Central to Power BI to pull the data. Most of the data is in present in like logs, so you can just filter, drill down, and check as per your reporting requirements. Just give me a second. I'm logging in.
So really nice feedback. Thank you so much, Ryu-san. He's basically highly commending you here, Olister, saying that the presentation is really good, better than other types of, typical Microsoft type sessions. You're really giving a great overview, functional overview. So thank you for that once again. And Sridharan is saying, yes, they're really enjoying the momentum. Awesome, guys.
That's really great.
And
Okay.
whilst Olister is sharing the screen, the reason why I know Olister is because he's very active in the community, especially in the community forum. So one of the things that you should all do is actually check out, if you haven't already, but join the community, the Dynamics community forum. I'm going to share the link with you. It's the place. It's where I began my journey. And so I'm going to share that with everyone so that you can see where all the action is happening for the Business Central community, and you'll see all the MVPs there. So I've shared the link below. Essentially, this forum is the place. A lot of our speakers are active contributors here on the forum. So please make sure you join this forum. It's a very important place to get the support you need and get the answers that you need when on your projects. You're guaranteed to find the answer, and if you don't find the answer, there'll be someone there to answer it for you. So make sure you join that community. It's community.dynamics.com. If you go onto it, you will definitely get. So yeah, so sorry, Olister, did you manage to
Yeah,
fix
I
that?
did. All right. Yeah.
There you are.
So if you can see this in Business Central, we definitely have the sales and relationship management role, which where you can see the number of duplicates, contact persons, open opportunities, opportunities that are overdue. So these are like basic dashboarding. And from here, you can take a look at the sales cycle that we are having. So for existing, let's say I can see that there are 10 opportunities which are going on. So these are the default reporting that is being given by Microsoft in terms of relationship management. And what I can say is that I have seen this module maybe 1.5 years ago. Compared to what it was then and what it is now, it is definitely improving with a lot of features. So I would suggest that you can continue to take a look at this. And the best part of this module is it integrates with your Outlook. Unfortunately, I could not show it today, but it integrates with Outlook using the Business Central extension that we have made for Outlook. You can track your sales quote. Everything can be managed through the Outlook. You don't even have to go to Business Central. So the standard set of reporting, to answer the question, the standard set of reporting is basically the salesperson statistics. Let's say I'm giving this one. One moment. I have to maybe dig a little deeper. Let's say. Okay. So here I can, so for a given campaign, I can go and see what all things are done. This is just the basic reporting that is there, like a like the salespeople who are going to report to their managers. This kind of details that we are seeing. One moment. Yeah, analysis, sales analysis report. So in this case, oh, okay, great. So what we have is we also have an analysis template. So this is more of like, in the upcoming sessions, we have more details on account schedules and analysis by dimensions. So these kind of reports are present here, although I'll have to configure it maybe in the next session if we plan for it. Raz, we can even show this kind of details.
Awesome, definitely, yes. So there you go, guys. So there's no
Sales,
more questions.
yeah. To add, there is sales by sales budgets, sales analysis by dimensions. So this is like our financial analysis by dimension that happens, like analysis views and so on. If you can see here, we have analysis view, and uh, yeah, I guess the only reporting that we have, the most important report that we have is the fact box. So for example, if I'm talking about this particular this particular contact, I can just see how many opportunities are open with regards to this. I can see if it's one, it's open, whatever. I can just take a look at industry groups where it's linked, and this will give me a higher level information into what is going on. And from here I can even see my interaction logs. So contacts is one place, and the second place is salespeople purchasers. So I'm opening this one. All right. So yeah, so in related, you see, most of the entities that we highlighted, these entities are present over here. So for example, if I'm taking a look at teams, I can just go and see where the salesperson belongs to. So that way we can, work everything from a salesperson code. So if you are a salesperson, I would definitely, you know, definitely recommend that you come to this page and start your sales activities.
Fantastic. So there you have Olister. So Olister, please could you share your connection details? I'm sure.
Yes.
Often when someone has a challenge, I often refer them to Olister. I think Olister, he's always really, really avid at really, helping the community. So again, thank you, Olister, for being so proactive in the community and supporting them on their challenges.
Yes, and to add up to what you just said, and even what Paul said, the reason why Business Central is growing so fast, in fact, I have never seen such a faster growth in other applications, other business applications than Business Central, is because of the community. The way he said that it's an open source, which means all the users, all the community persons are given access to the Business Central standard code so that you can present your ideas, you can help Microsoft with better coding and make it faster. So I definitely recommend each and every member, because I started from the community activities and this is where I've reached. I definitely recommend each and every person to join the community, start answering the questions. It will give you a level of confidence and boost up your skill sets.
Thank you once again, Olister. So thank you for sharing your connection details. I'll share your Twitter and LinkedIn also, but there's his blog, olister.blogspot.com. So if you could share that in the chat, that'd be great, Olister.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yes,
will be
definitely.
seeing more of Olister tomorrow as he leads the developer track for the Business Central Bootcamp developer track. That's continuing tomorrow from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. So we'll be in contact with Olister. So look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, Olister. So once again, thank you, Olister.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ras.